Hello, welcome to my video. My name is Abby. I am an oil painter and I guess I make videos about my oil paintings. This week I am going to bring you along for multiple weeks of my process in my studio. I did not do a very good job at weaving a story through this video, but I do have a lot of clips I can kind of put together to show you what I've been up to. So I hope you enjoy the video. Let's just jump into it and see what I have to say. I don't even remember because I filmed some of these 2 weeks ago. Okay, thanks for being here. It is a brand new week in my studio. I love Mondays. Mostly because I get to come in here and I get to start something new that I have been thinking about all weekend. And today's project is so cool because I had someone reach out and be like, hey, you know these little girl whimsical dreamlike paintings that you've been doing? Can you make one for me? And I said, yes, absolutely, 100%. So this project is exciting because it's for a little boy. It's of her son, and I'm looking at photos right now of him, and I won't show you the photos of him, but I love that I get to take these very precious moments and turn them into keepsakes forever. So she had the idea of having her son riding on a goose. Obsessed. And I love painting geese. So I'm thinking this is going to be a super fun painting to work on. So I'm going to be working on thumbnails, and a thumbnail is when you have tiny little images of what you think you want, and you can create as many as you want so that you can kind of be I like this, I don't like this, on a very small scale of a sketchbook where you're not going to feel stressed about wasting your materials. So I'm going to be working on a square canvas, so I'm going to create some squares in my sketchbook, just like this. Then I'm going to say, okay, I want to make this little boy riding the goose. I do not want to look at anyone else's art at this point because that will influence me making my own creation. So I will not look at Pinterest. I will just kind of figure out what I want to do out of my head. Of course, I will always have influences of other artists that kind of seep in because that's just the nature of being a creative. You pick and choose what you like and then you kind of boil it down into something that feels like you. But at the point of sketching right now, I am not looking to be influenced. So I'm just going to jump in and do some sketches, and then we'll find some reference photos that can maybe support my sketching. I want the goose to be flying this direction, and I think the little boy is going to be up here on his back like this with one leg over, like this. And then let me try something different. Let's see, let's maybe put some sort of landscape down here, and then have the goose like this, because I'm thinking this could be clouds over on this one, like that. The goose could be, sectioned in the center here, but this section needs to be down below. This is going to make for a much more interesting image than something that is just directly in the middle like this. So that has something to it right here. And see how this is so incredibly messy? This is what you want, especially in the beginning process. Or I kind of like this one. And then let's see about putting the bird like this with the same little boy riding on his belly, which I think is so cool. And then he can kind of be holding on. And then he could have maybe a light or something coming this way, kind of leading the bird in a direction ahead of him. So say the little boy is like this, laying down with his legs. And then he could have one hand kind of holding, I don't know, maybe a light. And then the bird's head could be like this. And this one is really kind of getting me excited. And then maybe the bird's feet are gonna be coming out like this. I'm excited about this idea right here. And you see how, like, because I now have done 5 thumbnails, I wasn't there. I was not there at this beginning one. I like the idea of combining a foreground, a landscape below, like this, clouds, mountains maybe, so that it's almost like you're looking down on the scene like this, like you are higher up than this boy. Okay, this is it. This is it. I'm going to sketch this out more intentionally on my iPad. So I am on Pinterest looking for images of geese in flight so I can see how their body is. Let's see. So I need to ask her if she wants a white goose or like a Canadian goose. And I want it to be kind of like from above, the image from above. So trying not to look at other people's art to be influenced. I'm just looking for a reference of a goose. Let me actually write to her and see what she has to say about wanting a Canadian goose or not. Well, this is Editing Abby joining you to tell you that I did not take any video, I guess, of me painting this little commission piece. It was a 14 by 14. And I love how it turned out. I think it turned out so sweet, so I'm going to show you it right now. I don't paint little boys very often, which is crazy because I had so much fun. I think out of all of my paintings, I think I've done 2 little boys. Why? I'm not sure. Maybe because I have 2 daughters and I'm a woman and I just tend to paint feminine little girl scenes. But this painting like absolutely opened my eyes, like paint more little boys. So I'm going to have to do that in the future. Okay, back to the video. Okay, just kidding. I actually did not tell you what I'm doing in this next clip. I am getting ready to make a big styrofoam bird. I have made this bird so many times in the past, I think like 6 times. It's huge, 48 by 48, and I'm going to bring you through the process of me making this amazing bird, prep, oil paint, the whole deal. So now let's get back to the video. To cut the foam, I have a tool by this company. I don't know how to say it. And it's really cool. It like slices through the foam like butter. I mean, it's so satisfying. But it has this little thin wire attachment, or you can use it with like this proby one, and it all hooks into this. But since the last time I used it, this wire bit is really loose and it makes cutting the foam like so hard. So I'm going to replace the wire before I get going. I bought this last year and it was really cool because I think I got it at Home Depot, and they were having like a buy one get one free on power tools. So I was able to buy this and also a miter saw. Is that what it's called? But the other one I use to cut wood shapes like this little squirrel that I haven't painted yet. I used my jigsaw. That's the word. It's a jigsaw. I used the jigsaw to cut this piece, and for bigger pieces, I could absolutely make them on wood, although it would make it really heavy, and I'm shipping this piece. So I only offer like really big cutout things made of foam, just because it saves me and the collector a lot of money in shipping. It's heating up. And it's crazy how hot this thing gets. So if you have this tool, be so careful. Keep it away from your hair, as with all power tools. I feel like I'm a PBS girl, being like, ask your mother for help. So these are insulation panels that you would put into your wall before putting like drywall on or whatever. I get these panels at Lowe's. I have them cut them in half because otherwise they're too long to fit into my van. If you had a truck, which that is one of my dreams, I need a truck for my art. Maybe I can use it as a write-off for my art business. I have to have a truck for these insulation panels. They're so fantastic to use to make art on. And if you have a little bit of creativity behind some of your thinking, you can use just about anything to make art. And I love making big paintings on this stuff because it is so light and you can hang it up like really high, and if it falls, it's not going to hurt anyone. So I think that is a really great benefit. I feel like someone's going to fuss at me. Listen, I understand that I should be having some sort of mask on to sand this. You're right. But I did sand it outside. And I want to tell you guys, cut this stuff outside because it's really toxic, like the fumes of it. So next time I will wear a mask. I promise. I have it all cut out and sanded, and now I need to get it all prepped with some gesso. This is the kind of gesso I like. I think they're all kind of the same. You buy one tub and you'll have it for quite a while because most canvases come pre-gessoed and they don't really require more gesso. So I use this gesso only for projects like this. While this bird dries, I'm going to finish this painting that I started last week. I think it's going to be really cute. I wanted to focus on pattern and the motion of running. So this is where I am in it. I am seeing some things that I want to change and fix, but because I started this last week, like all of this is like dry now. So now I can kind of like figure out where I want to go next with it. But I was planning on making 2 more pieces that were very similar. I started adding paint onto this and I was kind of thinking like, what if I cover the top and make it look like it's running through this like field, but like there's like a pattern on the back. So I'm thinking I can like make this almost like a sky up at the top, and then this pattern will be shining through the blue. The good thing about painting is you can always make a decision, and if you don't like it, makes a big difference. So that's I think what I want to do. Sometimes letting things sit and like having some time to just dry, you can come back in and figure out a different plan. I mixed up this really pretty blue, and let's just do it. I really like how this turned out. I think choosing to make it where this is almost like the ground and then this is the sky was a really cool choice. And I love how you can see the texture of this pattern that I put onto it through the bottom. So cool. Got a new product. It is modeling paste. So I think I could almost put my pattern on with this modeling paste and acrylic, which I've never played with. So we could use this next painting, these next 2 paintings to play with this product. Don't smell it. It smells terrible. It's really thick. So I think that you add this to your paints. It says as texture and sculptural form. Tint with color or overpaint. So let's tint it. A similar painting, but using a different technique. So here's the product. I'm going to use, I don't know, let's start with that much and mix a color into it. Okay, next I need to add, I think, a little bit of white. I had someone in my last video ask me what kind of paintbrushes I'm using. I really don't use anything special other than a few oil paintbrushes that I bought specifically for oil painting. I don't really use anything special because I find that I put my paintbrushes through a lot, and while I do make sure I keep them clean and nice for as long as I can, I don't want to be precious with my materials because I find that holds me back from really diving into all of my creative potential. So I just buy what I see when I'm in the store picking up oil paints and use them, and then whenever the bristles start coming out, I'll replace it. But even whenever they get a little bit stiff, I keep them because I find they make really good textured brush strokes. So it's not really about your materials or what you're using, or like getting exactly what I have. It's more about being creative with what you have. I know not everyone can go out and buy a $50 paintbrush, especially when you are starting out, because oil painting can be quite tricky, and it's kind of tricky to keep your paintbrushes clean. So I always say, like, buy what you can afford and don't worry about it, especially if you're in the learning process. You don't want anything to make you feel like it's a precious thing. Creativity, of course, is precious to us, but it shouldn't be so precious that you're afraid to use your materials. But you shouldn't be buying things that are so expensive that you are afraid to use them. It is Monday morning, and I really need to get into my work this week. I have so many things I need to accomplish. I have to paint some things for Vacation Bible School that's coming up, and that's what these big things over here are for. But I also have to paint this big bird, so let's paint it. I'm going to paint my bird in oil, but this palette is like completely full of paints. And I had someone last week ask me about my palette, so let me tell you. It is an old wall hanging, and on the back I painted a neutral gray with acrylic. And this part is glass, and I can just scrape the paint clean with a razor. And I absolutely love the palette. I have considered using palette paper, and then you could just throw it away and you don't have to deal with the scraping. But I decided against it. But that's a really great option if you don't want to do the cleanup like I have to do either before or after I paint every single time. swallow is finished and I love it so much. No matter how many times I make this project, and I think I've done it like 5 or 6 times now, I always love it. So I'm excited to let this dry and then I'll varnish it and then I'll ship it off. And I'm curious where I'm shipping it. I don't remember. I'll have to look. Since I just finished this, I'm just going to keep trucking along. I find that to be really good to like keep the momentum, is to like start something almost immediately after. So I am going to use this canvas that I started a painting on, didn't like it. I covered it in gesso and it's going to be a new painting. So what I need to do is prep this one with an underpainting and then sketch my design. And I would really like to paint this today. Can I do it? I'm at the point where I'm like really nailing down what I want the subject to be. I drew this, I don't know, like a year ago. This is a good example of like, keep a hold of all of your sketches because you may want to come back to it later. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's an owl. And then over this owl's neck, he's like carrying these hanging stars. So I'm starting to sketch this out, and then I sketched a bow on his neck, but now I'm like, should I just do the original design? And I'm waffling. I'm trying to figure it out. I want to make sure that it's visually interesting, but because this would have to be a very, very long canvas, which I could do, like the way I designed this originally was to make this a long canvas, or I have to make my owl really small, and I don't want to do that. I want the owl to be like the main star. So I'm thinking I'll do a bow kind of flapping in the wind, and then I'll do some sort of like star background. And I'm realizing now that I do a lot of talking out loud to you guys, trying to figure out my process, because I'm not really asking you all what you think, because I will have made my decision by the time I edit this video. So I don't know. Let me start painting, and I'll probably figure it out as I start to lay down the paint. Here's what I'm thinking. I want to use this modeling paste that I got the other day, and I think what I should do is add some stars with this, let it dry, and then it'll like have like the texture of stars in the background. When I am making a brand new painting, there is so much discovery that happens, and that's what makes painting so fun, is that you are like figuring it out as you go. There is so much discovery that happens with every painting. Now, this is just me, but I have like a sense of what I want it to look like, but there is going to be so much like revealing of itself that happens just by me showing up to the canvas and committing to the process of the painting. So when I'm like trying to like flesh it out in front of you guys, this is exactly what it's like every single day in my studio. I'm just trying to figure out what I want the painting to look like, and sometimes I don't really like the directions going in. So then I pause, stop, and I think, okay, how can I make this even better? And then I move on and move in the direction that I think that the painting should go. Here's where I'm leaving it with the modeling paste. I put a little border with the texture, and I think that could be really fun. Who knows? We'll see. This is where I'm leaving it. No, it'll be okay. I am going to like it, but I really don't like my paintings like the first day or so. So it's blocked in. It is going to look totally different by the end. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. I think that is all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for spending some time with me in my studio. I hope you come back again. I love having you here with me, and I love filming the process of making art and all of the joy that is creation. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.